All right, I'm still getting asked in the comment section every single day on these preview and prediction videos, how come you didn't do such and such game, or how come you didn't cover this team or whatever. I'm putting the schedule of videos back up on the screen. I've done this several times over the last couple of weeks. I know it can be a little bit confusing, I guess, especially with it being the start of the season. But again, Tuesday is all the SEC teams, every single one. Wednesday is the top 25 teams, except games involving SEC teams, because I would have covered them the day before. So, for example, on yesterday's top 25 video, I had comments asking, what about Texas LSU? What about Clemson Texas A&M? Those are top 25 teams. Those games both involve SEC teams, so they were covered the day before on Tuesday. So I'm not going to cover them again, obviously, on Wednesday. Got asked yesterday, what about North Carolina, Miami? Well, they're not ranked. I'm covering that today. Thursday is all the games that don't fit into Tuesday or Wednesday, but are still interesting to me for one reason or another. So again, Tuesday, preview and prediction, all the SEC games that week. Wednesday, all the top 25 teams that play that week, except the SEC teams, which are done the day before. And on Thursday, today, all the other games of the week that are of interest to me for one reason or another. And you can see the rest of the video schedule is up there too. But anyway, we're going to do Thursday's video. We're going to do all the games I haven't covered yet that are interesting to me for one reason or another. So again, there won't be any SEC teams in this video. They were all done Tuesday. There won't be any top 25 teams in this video. They're all done yesterday. But there's still some interesting teams that don't fit those categories. North Carolina and Miami are playing. That's an interesting game to me. Can Georgia State keep it going this week at home after their big win over Tennessee? They host Furman. I'm going to talk about that. And speaking of upsets, Georgia State over Tennessee, who remembers one of the biggest upsets from last offseason? Definitely one of the most shocking games of last year. Virginia Tech losing on the road at Old Dominion. Well, they play again this year, this time in Blacksburg. Virginia Tech hosts Old Dominion. Georgia Tech's at home against South Florida. San Diego State on the road at UCLA. Can Chip Kelly get it turned around? Florida State, can they find a win at home against UL Monroe? And the Fighting Les Miles. Kansas looks to go 2-0 with a home game this weekend against Coastal Carolina. Going to talk about all those college games, and the NFL kicks off tonight, Thursday Night Football on NBC. I'm going to talk about Green Bay and Chicago. That'll be at the very end of the video. I know a lot of you don't care about the NFL, but I did this last year and a lot of people liked it. I'm not going to cover all the Sunday games or the Monday Night Football game, but I'll include the Thursday Night Football game in every Thursday video from here on out. But anyway, let's get started with today's preview and prediction video. Yep, good morning, and it's Uncle Lou here. Yeah, that's right, it's me, Uncle Lou, and I'm live for you on YouTube today, so thanks for watching. You know I appreciate it also, and in addition to that as well, subscribe to this channel if you're not already. I post pointless college football videos every single day of the year round. The fun never stops here on YouTube. Give this video a thumbs up. Miami fans, I know, are excited, looking to get their first win. Give this video a thumbs up if you're excited about some of these games we're going to cover today. Per usual, all the lines, spreads, odds, everything that I talk about betting-wise in this video is going to come from betnow.eu, and all the numbers are accurate as of about 9 a.m. this morning. Click the link in the description of this video and go on over to BetNow and get yourself signed up with an account over there and have some fun betting on college football this season. It's real easy to get signed up. They ask for all the usual information, your name, your email address, so forth and so on. Yep, they'll give you a username and a password, and when you make your first deposit, there's a box for a promo code, and if you enter Uncle Lou, that's all one word, Uncle Lou, they're going to give you a 100% bonus on whatever you deposit. So you deposit $50, they put 100 in your account. You deposit $100, you'll have 200 in your account. You get the idea. 100% bonus. That's good through September 16th, and then I think the bonus is going down to 50%. So make sure you get signed up now and take advantage of that big bonus. Make yourself some money. Have some fun betting on some of these college football games. And remember, I'm just an idiot who's never seen a football game. Don't take my advice. This is for information purposes only. Yeah, and entertainment too. Anyway, let's go. We're going to start with some noon games. There's no Thursday games this week. This is something college football has been doing the last couple of years. They don't play Thursday games on the opening night of the NFL. I guess out of respect to the NFL, I don't know, Thursday night games will resume next week. We do have a few Friday games this week, but they're garbage. They're toilet water games. I'm not talking about any of those Friday games. We're going to start with some Saturday games here. All right, I mentioned this one in the opening. Old Dominion on the road at Virginia Tech. This one comes on 12 o'clock over on ESPNU. Virginia Tech's a 28.5-point favorite in this one. Virginia Tech, of course, didn't they lose last week to Boston College? Yeah, I'm pretty sure they did. 5 turnovers, I think they had in that game. They got to get that corrected. 28.5 is a huge number. This may sound weird. In fact, I know it's going to sound weird. Virginia Tech's had this Old Dominion game circled, hadn't they? Yeah, they get them at home. You know what? I'm going to go with the Hokies here. This probably isn't a smart decision. 28.5 is a lot of points to give for a Virginia Tech team that honestly just isn't that good and has underwhelmed really for the last 2 or 3 years ever since Fuentes got there as head coach. I just think Old Dominion, I mean, it was luck last year that they won, let's just be real, and I don't want to get into a breakdown of Old Dominion here, but they lost a lot of their offense from last year. I just don't see a repeat of last year happening. I think Virginia Tech rolls in this game. Give me the Hokies, whatever the hell that is, I don't know, and ladies, 28.5 points. All right, here we go. 2 teams that got absolutely blown out last week. South Florida at Georgia Tech. This one comes on 2 o'clock over on the ACC network. South Florida beat them last time they played, didn't they? Pretty sure they did. Home game for Georgia Tech. They're a 6.5-point favorite in this one. Georgia Tech's offense, hard to really judge based on what they did against Clemson last week. Clemson has one of the best defenses in the ACC and really in all of college football. Probably not quite as dominant as last year's Clemson defense, especially the front 4 and the front 7, at least not early in the season. Now, maybe some of those new guys that Clemson has up front develop and become sort of the elite playmakers that a lot of the guys they lost to the NFL last year were all of last year. But as of right now, I don't think Clemson is quite at that level. But still, Georgia Tech's first game with Jeff Collins and this brand new offense after Georgia Tech has been running the triple option for the last decade or so. You couldn't have expected much against Clemson, and that's what you got, not much. But again, not really fair to judge Georgia Tech's offense on that game because it was the first game and it was against one of the best defenses they're going to play all year. South Florida, on the other hand, got absolutely demolished by Wisconsin. I think it was at 58-3 or 58. I mean, they just got absolutely throttled by Wisconsin. Jonathan Taylor ran wild, no surprise there. So both these teams coming off huge blowout losses. South Florida's got to travel up north to Atlanta to take on the Nerds. Like I mentioned, Georgia Tech is a 6.5-point favorite. I think this is going to be a close game. I don't think either team is going to win this game by 6.5 points. For that reason, I'm going to take South Florida. Now, it would not surprise me at all if Georgia Tech wins the game. I just don't think they're going to win by 6.5. I think this is going to be a close one. It comes down to a one-possession type thing in the fourth quarter, maybe a field goal, 4 or 5 point win, something like that. So I'm going to take South Florida and those 6.5 points in this one. All right, Chip Kelly, man, what a disaster this guy's been. His first year at UCLA did not go well. He won 4 games. Start out this season on the road at Cincinnati, and you think it was a group of 5 team. And yeah, it is. It's one of the better group of 5 teams, though. And it's not even really that UCLA lost. It's just here we are, year 2 at UCLA under Chip Kelly, supposed to be this offensive guru. And UCLA's offense just looked horrible week 1. Again, like it did all of last year. Now, San Diego State, they found a way to look worse last week. They played something called Weber State and didn't score at all. Now, their defense played great. They lost that game 6-0. So, San Diego State, what is the under on this game? 11? This might be the lowest over-under total in the history of college football. How is either team going to score into the double digits here? I'm sort of kidding. I expect UCLA to figure it out a little bit this week at home. San Diego State, they won 6-0 over Weber State, not lost. I got it flip-flop there. So they won 6-0. So the defense played pretty good, but again, it's Weber State, and they only managed 6 points. This could be the lowest college football game of the entire year. Maybe UCLA wins this game something like 10-2. Give me the Bruins and Chip Kelly to get it turned around at home, latest 7.5 points. All right, UL Monroe on the road at FSU. FSU desperately needs a win. The two teams that absolutely have to win this week, Florida State and Tennessee. If those two teams don't win this week, things could get really ugly as the season goes along. Fans are going to start turning on the team, the coaches, the program. Players are going to start giving up. I don't see how Florida State can't beat UL Monroe. If you look at the game against Boise State, do I think Boise State is as good as the Boise State teams from 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago that were beating teams like Georgia and Oklahoma in the Fiesta Bowl that year? No. Boise State obviously is not that team anymore. That coach is gone. He's at Washington now. Boise State showed up in Florida with a true freshman quarterback. Florida State did get out to a pretty good lead. Florida State played really, really good in the first half of that game. Don't know what happened in the second half. They took their foot off the gas. Did they get too conservative? Did they get I don't know, anxiety? I don't know what happened here. They looked like a totally different team in the second half than they did the first half. I think they're going to put a full game together this week. UL Monroe, not a very good team. One of these directional schools people call Louisiana, whatever. I wish this was 20 instead of 21, and I'm not a fan of Willie Taggart. I honestly don't think this guy knows what he's doing. But maybe, what's the guy's name? Briles, they got an offensive coordinator down there. Maybe he can get it figured out enough to put a full game together on offense here. I'm going to take the Noles and latest 21, but I don't feel that good about it. But yeah, give me Florida State late at 3 touchdowns. All right, Furman at Georgia State. This one comes on 7 o'clock, ESPN 3. So you have to watch this one on the internet, phone, tablet, ESPN app if you have it on your TV, like UNCLELOU does. Yeah, I got 3 TVs out here. I have to. I needed to, so I did too. Furman on the road at Georgia State. Furman, not a very good team. Georgia State. Georgia State was 2-10 last year. They were picked to finish dead last in the Sun Belt Conference. Did everybody get it wrong? Or is Tennessee just really that bad? I think it's probably a combination of the two. Georgia State did look like they had some playmakers on offense. Now, not playmakers that should have been running around like the Harlem Globetrotters against Tennessee, which is honestly what Georgia State looked like. It just made them look completely silly. I think they're going to do it again at home this week. I don't think they're going to have sometimes a team gets a big win like that, and then they sort of sleepwalk through the next week. I don't think that's going to be the case here. It helps that it was a road game, and now they're back home, first home game. The crowd should be as raucous as a Georgia State crowd can possibly be, coming off that big win last week on the road against a Power 5 SEC team in Tennessee. Furman, they're just a run-of-the-mill team for that conference. I'm going to take Georgia State again here. I'm going to say people got Georgia State wrong this year. I don't know that they'll win that conference. I'm not willing to go that far, but I don't see them coming in dead last and winning 2 games again. Give me the Panthers at home here, latest 7 points. Les Miles starts out 1-0, and you might think that's not a big deal. They played a nobody, and they're playing a nobody again this week, Coastal Carolina. But Kansas has won 1, 2, or 3 games every single season, as long as almost anybody can remember. So they're halfway, really, to their mean win total over the last decade, starting out at 1-0 with a pretty good win last week. And now they get their best player back, Puka Williams, who had to sit out last week due to a suspension involving some text messages or a video message that he sent to a girl. I'm not going to get into that. You can Google Puka Williams if you want to know the story there. I feel a little bit bad for the guy. He probably shouldn't have sent the video. Anyway, I'm not going to get into it, but he's no predator. He's no pedophile, nothing like that. You got to read the story to understand really what happened there. Kansas is at home. Coastal Carolina's 0-1. They're not very good. Kansas quarterback looked pretty good last week, especially in the second half, especially in the fourth quarter. So, I don't want to say I was impressed by Kansas offense, but I think considering they didn't have Puka Williams at running back, their best player, I thought they played pretty good offensively. Obviously, they did enough to win the game. They're a 7.5-point favorite here. I took Kansas last week. I'm going to take them again. Give me the Jayhawks again in week 2 to cover for the second week in a row. They're starting out 2-0. They might have a parade. All right, here's probably the biggest game of today's preview video. This is probably the biggest game of the week, not involving SEC teams or top 25 teams, but Miami on the road at UNC. Opposite starts to the season for these two teams. Miami dropped a heartbreaker in week 0 to Florida. Miami had, it seemed like, 20 or 25 opportunities to win that game in the last 4 or 5 minutes of the game and couldn't get it done. North Carolina, on the other hand, played a close game in a neutral site with South Carolina, right? And they came back in the fourth quarter and did find a way to win. They scored 15 unanswered points in the fourth quarter of that game. Both these teams were playing first-year starting quarterbacks. The North Carolina quarterback is a freshman. Jarren Williams, is he a redshirt freshman? I think he might be a sophomore. I think he's a redshirt freshman, though. But in any case, both quarterbacks, the Miami quarterback, Jarren Williams, and the North Carolina quarterback, Sam Howell, were making their first start. And when you look at the fourth quarter of those two games, Jarren Williams 100% looked like a quarterback who was making his first start. He was terrible in the fourth quarter of that game. Like I said, Miami had chance after chance after chance. You guys remember Florida kept committing all those penalties. They had turnovers, and Miami just could do nothing with the ball in that fourth quarter, and Jarren Williams did not look good. Juxtapose that to Sam Howell at North Carolina last week against South Carolina in the fourth quarter he didn't look shaky or nervous at all in the fourth quarter. Now, obviously, Miami played a better team in Florida than North Carolina played in South Carolina. But still, just watch the games. Forget about who they're playing. Sam Howell looked composed. He didn't look like the moment was too big for him in terms of a fourth quarter type of thing. Like I said, led the team to 15 points. Defense played good in the fourth quarter, too. Those 15 points went unanswered by South Carolina. Jarren Williams got to hold on to the ball, can't turn it over. Miami's defense played pretty good against Florida, especially their defensive line. They're not getting 10 sacks against North Carolina. They might get a few, but North Carolina's going to get a few too. They've got some players on the defensive side of the ball. Miami's a 3.5-point favorite in this one. Comes on 8 o'clock on the ACC network. This series is tied all time 11-11. How is that possible? I thought that was the basketball record. I had to look it up. Nope, football. Then I sort of thought to myself, well, if you think about it, since Miami has joined the ACC, Miami and North Carolina have been pretty even teams. Has North Carolina been very good? No, but neither has Miami. They've each made one conference title game. Is that right? Both losing. So pretty even teams. So tied 11-11 all time. The home team, this is for you degenerate gamblers out there. The home team in this game is 6-1 against the spread in the last 7 games. North Carolina's the home team. I'm going to take them, but I needed 3.5 points. I could see Miami winning like a 26-24, 27-24, 21-20, 23-20, something like that. 3.5 is a good number for me. Give me the home team, the Tar Heels, and 3.5 points. Sorry, Canes. You could still win, though. Right now, the NFL game that 3 people care about, Green Bay on the road at Chicago. I'm becoming less and less of a believer in college football that you have to have an elite defense to win. Now, you can't have the worst defense, right, Oklahoma? But offense, I think, has become more important in college football than I think defense has. Even teams like Alabama, who under Nick Saban won how many national titles with elite defenses and game-managing quarterbacks. They won national titles. They're scoring points in the 20s all year long. You look at them now, they're scoring in the 40s and 50s. You still have to have a capable defense that can slow teams down. And the NFL defense still carries the day, in my opinion. Yes, there are a few explosive offensive teams who are capable of putting up 40 points or more, but not very many. Scores tend to be lower in the NFL. Defense, I think, is still more important than the offense in the NFL, and Chicago has probably the best defense in the NFL. At least they did last year, in my opinion. They get most of those pieces back. Chicago's front 7 is borderline unfair. Now, of course, Green Bay has Aaron Rodgers. He's been one of the most successful quarterbacks in the NFL since coming into the league, about 10 years ago or so. He's been a little unhappy there, though, the last couple of years with some of the decisions their front office has made, not bringing in pieces that in his mind they needed to help the offense out. I'm going to take the home team here. I think these are 2 pretty evenly matched teams here. I think obviously Green Bay is probably a little bit better on offense. Mitch Trubisky, he's not bad. Comes from North Carolina. He had an okay year last year. And I like some of Chicago's playmakers on offense. But I mean, I think anyone would agree Aaron Rodgers better than Mitch Trubisky. But I think defense and the home field here is going to be enough for the Bears to get it done. They're a 3-point favorite. This comes on tonight. I think the broadcast starts at 8. Kickoff's probably around 8:30 or something. Chicago's a 3-point home favorite, 8 o'clock, NBC. Give me the Bears, lay to 3. All right, that's going to do it for this week's preview and prediction videos against the spread. Now, I previewed and predicted how many games, 40 or 50. I'm not betting on all those games. I'll do the same thing I did last week. Saturday morning during the 9 o'clock live show that we do every Saturday morning, college game day watch with Lou at 9 a.m. I will decide on about 10 of these games that I really, really like, And then I'll try to narrow the list of 10 down to 3 or 4 games that I'll bet on Saturday. Where am I at so far for the season? Deposit 100 to start the season, right? I put 50 of it on Florida. They didn't cover that, knocked me down to 50. After week 1, after Thursday of week 1, I was up to about 100. And then after the weekend, last weekend, I was up to about, 155 or something like that. So I'm up $55 for the year heading into week 2. I've already placed one bet on there this week because I was afraid the line was going to change and get worse for me. So I've already laid down a bet on LSU to cover the spread in that game. I'll go over the rest of the games that I'm considering on Saturday, and then I'll decide on 2 or 3 more, and we'll see if we can't make some more money this weekend. Anyway, I appreciate you guys watching. Make sure and join us for the live show tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern. It's a call-in show. We have a lot of fun. Take phone calls from all over, college football fans from all over. We have a lot of fun doing that. Tune in tonight. That's 10 p.m. Eastern. And you do not want to miss, under any circumstances, I'm telling you right now, you do not want to miss tomorrow's video. You've been warned. Have a good morning.